series that we're going to be doing. All right. Now let's play this little video because the stitches I saw to this were just nuts. Okay, let's go.
Did you have a good time? So can I see you again? Why you smiling? I ain't even saying nothing funny yet. I gotta say a joke first before you laugh.
That was the joke.
Okay. So what you doing Tuesday?
But like, I do still think that like people.
You like tacos and tequila?
I love tacos and I love tequila.
Okay. Sounds like we got a date.
Do we really?
Do we really?
Ringy promise?
I got you. You remember my name?
Yes.
Did you have a good time?
That's the video, right? Super duper cute. Okay. I gotta move the pic so you can see the phone. I can see it. I'm on my backup device. That's why I told everybody to look to the right. I can see it fine. I mean, he's not in it. It's literally her the whole time. She's not showing him. It's her. Is what you can see. And I'm on my backup device. I could see it over there. I don't know though. I have a Samsung. Some of you guys have inferior Apples, so some of you all have inferior apples. I have a Samsung. Okay, our Samsung does a multitude of things that you all apples do not do. This is the video.
Why you smiling? I ain't even saying nothing funny yet. I gotta say a joke first before you laugh.
That was the joke.
Okay. So what you doing Tuesday?
But like, I do still think that like people.
You like tacos and tequila?
I love tacos and I love tequila.
Okay. Sounds like we got a date.
Do we really?
Do we really?
Ringy promise?
I got you. You remember my name?
Yes.
Did you have a good time?
That's it. But this infuriated a specific group of women. Like, it's unbelievable with some of the stitches. And I was just like, is this for real? And in the comment section, some of the comments are wilder than wow.
God forbid. No, for real, because the way I would have been in that water, the cream, giving God back his word back.
So can I see you again? Why you smiling?
If I'm ever that happy after a first date with a man, I give permission to one of my friends to backhand slap me really, really hard.
I can keep going. These videos are like wowed. They're wow.
Takes me 50,000.
They are wow. They're insane. Why? Because a lot of these girls out here are fake mean girls. A lot of these girls out here are fake city girls. A lot of these girls out here want to play mind games. And I've told y'all several times, a lot of the ladies that y'all are taking advice from, I'm convinced that they're ladies of the night. Okay. It's very transactional. It's very much what you can do for me. I don't want to get caught up. And the reality of the situation is smiling at a man or showing your affection or being smitten is not going to stop you from getting played. The amount of women that are mad about this particular post, it's bizarre. It's really, really bizarre. And so you know how they say that like single women keep other women single. At this point, I'm convinced that it's true. And at this point, I'm convinced that that is true. The amount of women that are appalled by this girl posting that she was smitten is weird. I saw it, the first thing that popped in my head, I was just like, this is super cute. And if the guy that I'm dating isn't giving me this type of energy, if it doesn't make me giggle if I'm not blushing a little bit. Like, right, exactly. Then I saw some videos, they were talking about, this guy knows that he has her wrapped around her finger. He's going to be able to play her. This is a dangerous position for women to be in. And I'm just like, this is crazy, because at the end of the day, the same way he's doing things right, and what she's doing is called positive reinforcement. Okay. There's this guy called Pavlov. Okay. He's a psychologist back in the day. Positive reinforcement is a real thing. So the same way that she's giving him positive reinforcement because he's doing things to put a smile on her face and he can tell that she likes it, she's into it. If he makes a misstep, guess what? She can stop dealing with him. She doesn't have to accept any more dates. She doesn't have to talk to him. She doesn't have to subject herself to the relationship. So this whole thing where a lot of you guys are, oh, I'm gonna be an ice queen, a stonewall. I'm not showing any affection. I need to let this man know that he's jumping through hoops, who the boss is, that he doesn't have any effect on me. This is why a lot of y'all are not getting second dates. You're not getting third dates. No one's calling you back. This is why you're at home with a pair of moldy panties, okay, by yourself, being frustrated and bitter. There's nothing wrong with, showcasing your affections or your emotions, or let the guy know that he's doing a good job or that you're appreciative of the things that he's doing. And I'm telling y'all, this whole attitude of I have to be an ice queen, I'm a city girl. Most of y'all are not even built like that. Most of y'all running around here on your sprinkle tip, you're not built like that. A lot of y'all could not really do what it takes or what you have to do to be able to pull off that type of relationship. You want to think that you're built like that, but you're not. Most of y'all are lover girls, and there's nothing wrong with being a lover girl. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Okay. So we're going to open up the panel. Okay. We're going to do some dating advice and some dating tips or whatever. And we'll have some conversations, but it was a little disturbing to me to see the amount of women going in on this girl, for when the date goes well. And the reality of the situation is there's a lot of women. I'm about to say something, but please, well, if you want to be offended, you can be offended. I don't care. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. A lot of y'all wish and prayed and hope that a man would make the effort and the time to take you out, that a man would ask you out on a second date. Okay, that's the reality of the situation. That's what a lot of y'all wish would happen. You wish somebody would give you, the little electrifying chills, or make you smitten or giggle or blush. But because you're such a BI with a capital TCH at the end, no one wants to be around you. You're not fun. You're draining. You're heavy. And the same way, if we make effort or we do things for a guy and we want to hear thank you, or we want to know we're appreciated, why is it such a strange concept for y'all to understand that the guys want to be appreciated too? It's wild. Hey, Dr. Kia.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. I like this topic.
Like this topic. So it's interesting watching the transactional advice that ladies are giving other ladies, and watching the amount of ladies that are shaming this, trying to shame this girl. Okay, they're trying to shame her. They're trying to tell her, oh, well, he already knows he has you, you got him wrapped around your finger. And I hate when social media does stuff like that, because if I'm being honest, y'all, a lot of times when you're dating in relationships, I would tell you to never, you know what I'm saying? Put your relationship on the internet because of this, because it plants seeds, you know what I'm saying? So then, because let's be honest, everyone, and I'm not saying this about this creator, about Jasmine, I'm not saying this about her, but there are a lot of men and women, they don't have very strong minds. They're easily to be controlled or manipulated, and they will play towards what the community or the group of friends, what they have to say or what they think about them. instead of what they really want and what they really desire for themselves. You know what I'm saying? And so this could easily become one of those situations. Oh, you know, because there's so many women, girl, you need to stand up. Oh, she's folding. He has you wrapped around his finger. You better be careful. This is a bad position for a woman to be in. There's no way I'd be out here sweating a man like that, and all of those sorts of types of things. And then it starts to put a thought in somebody's head that there's something wrong with genuinely showing, you know what I mean, that you're into somebody or you're feeling somebody. Hey, Mallory. And y'all is open panel, by the way. Anybody can come up, okay? Tips and advice. If y'all want to ask Dr. Kia advice, because she's a professional, okay? This is her lane of expertise. This is her area. Then let's go. Because like I said, a lot of y'all are just not dating correctly. This is wild. This is wild.
You know, it's interesting. Those same women are the women who, you know, they don't have a man, or they're giving bad advice, and they're just not successful on their own. And then they expect to give advice and for the other person to be successful with it. Or you're listening to somebody who doesn't have a good track record. Like, there's too many people out there like that.
So,
and I think I was sharing yesterday, somebody who was supposed to be a known person told me exactly what I should be doing, and I didn't follow that advice. Thank goodness, because I would not be married today. So.
Right. You said they could be jealous because they want your man. There's definitely a set of people that will operate on the other side because they want your man. But for right now, for all intensive purposes, a lot of women have too much ego. And it's a big difference between like a healthy pride and ego to the point that is detrimental. And I'm not really sure when we got to this place in society where there are so many women, we don't want to exhibit feminine traits, or we don't want to, you know what I'm saying, be okay with being a woman. Like, why are we trying to position ourselves like men? Why are there so many women in this comment section feeling like she's supposed to be stoic and she's supposed to be hard, when those typically aren't characteristics that women carry?
You know, I've heard a lot of women talking about trying to avoid being taken advantage of. So as opposed to, you know, being more on the feminine side, they respond in ways like, you know, I'm not smiling because I don't want to smile. Like, you know, just very like angry and aggressive to let somebody know that they can't be taken advantage of. And it's like, you are pushing good people away. And then people who also see you acting like that, they don't want to be bothered with that either. Like, nobody wants that energy in their home. You know, you should be able to be with somebody who's able to relax, not be on 10, not always be looking for something that's wrong. And I think that that's where the major problem comes in. You know, I've heard people be like, oh, he ain't gonna play with me like that. Like, you actually was just asking you a question. He wasn't really trying to play with you. It was just a question.
So this is the thing, though, whenever they're like, oh, you know, he's not gonna mess with me, I need to be in a protective mode. You being out here trying to be stoic or playing mind games isn't going to stop somebody from playing in your face. If somebody wants to play in your face, they're going to play in your face. Period. I've seen so many women kicking up so much dust, having so much fuss, and they're the number one, you know what I'm saying? They're the number one victims getting played over and over and over and over and over again. And these are kind of, you know, how I tell y'all all the time that if you allow a man to feel good for doing things to put a smile on your face, that he wants to do more of that. This is one of those situations. And your big cuz Ashley Ann can see why a lot of y'all are being left on red. Because realistically, the fact that y'all have the disposition that you just will refuse to smile or acknowledge that a man did a good job, and you want to trivialize what the effort that man is making, and then you're wondering why he's not making more, is bizarre to me. You said you hope to end up with somebody at this point because it's looking bleak for you. Why do you feel like it's looking bleak for you? Hey, Miss Jazzy J. I just need for us to like stop the cap. That's what I need for us to stop doing. No, I'm serious. This is crazy. And then making other women, trying to make other women feel bad or be uncomfortable because because they have, found someone, or they're willing to say, I'm open to finding someone. I want love. I want a relationship. I want someone to be affectionate with. I want someone to be romantic towards me. It's really bizarre watching so many women trying to clown other women because they're saying that this is what I desire. And let me tell y'all this, okay? There is nothing wrong with you having the desire to be with someone. It does not make you lame. It does not make you weak. It does not, you know what I'm saying? It does not put you in some lower than, beneath than category. That is an okay thing. Most human beings, men and women, want someone to be able to share their lives with. They want someone to be affectionate with. You said glitching. You can't hear us. Well, you can't hear me. Somebody at her and tell her to exit out and come back in. You said I'm struggling with how much to give in a new relationship. Let's see. Iman, you definitely can pull up to the box and you can ask Dr. Kia. She's actually a professional relationship expert. This is what she does all day long. She helps single women find quality men and be able to basically secure the deal. She helps save marriages. She helps people have healthy relationships. They do a lot of preventative in her practice. She actually has a physical practice, you can walk in, she sees patients. She also sees patients online. She's been doing this for years. Oh, I don't know.
I was going to say all these women who try to make other women feel bad, I feel like there's an overcorrection. Almost like, we see people who are in bad situations. So now the overcorrection is you need to make sure that you can be on your own and you don't need a man and you need to be independent and all this kind of stuff. But to me, it's not working because it's almost like now you're a pick-me or whatever, how they want to label you a pick-me. What's the judge's name that had the husband that passed away?
Lynn Toller. I love her.
Yes, they called her a pick-me. I was like, okay.
They said Judge Lynn is a pick-me?
Yes.
Oh my God. The disrespect. The disrespect. Judge Lynn is a pick-me now? But if
her husband set her up for success, he was behind the scenes. So I'm just like, how in the world is that what y'all want to call her? And what kind of relationship do you actually want? Because clearly you don't want a partnership where y'all are thriving. Because her, people are just like, she's where she is because she did it on her own. She did not actually.
She did not. Yeah. And she tells everyone constantly how her husband assisted her and molded her and helped her get through, some very trying times, some of her challenges. So this is the thing though, what I noticed with a lot of these girls, they don't really want to be in a relationship. They want the accolades, but they want the gifts, they want the rewards, they want the financial support, but realistically, they don't want relationships because the first time someone messes up, they're so quick to write those people off. They have no sympathy, no mercy for, their partner. They have no companion. They have no compassion. Yeah, they want the accolades. They want to be able to, because, okay, there are some women and there are some men, they feel like you being inside of a relationship, specifically you being claimed, you know what I'm saying? That gives you an additional social capital. We're not going to act like there's not a sector of women that act like because they're wives that they're better than all of the women who are unwived, right? There are some men in certain circles in life, and they will not take another man seriously if he does not have a wife. They won't even do business with that man. They see that as a sign of immaturity. There are a lot of couples that are able to work together, right, to get things done. You said I'm a DV survivor, and I healed and found love after, the kind of love I deserve. Oh, I love that blind love. Congratulations. Let's see. Miss Sutton says the overcorrection has me in a funk. paired with an unaccountable man I've dated. I'm not dating currently as I have a few things I want to improve on, but the overcorrection feels like disrespect.
Can she elaborate more on that?
Hold on, let me drop a link. Dr. Kia wants to know, can you elaborate? Can you elaborate more? Hold on, let me get you a link, girl, so you can pull up. And you don't just turn, you don't have to turn your cam on if you don't want to. Let's have the option on here. But
I believe people want the title of marriage. Yeah, some people want the title, but not the work. You know, I feel like, and let me be clear, but I feel like people do want marriage, but the problem is, do they want to do the work associated with that to have what they want in a marriage?
Can I be honest? I think a lot of them are willing to do the work until they start worrying about what people are going to say about them. They start worrying about people calling them pick-me's. They start worrying about people calling them stupid. They start worrying about people saying, throwing, you know, what they did in their face about having understanding and compassion and being able to develop and grow with another person. So thank you, Gina. Thank you, Queen Wimbo. So it's not necessarily, if I'm being honest, it's not that a lot of people don't want marriage or that they don't want a committed relationship. People are allowing the community, right, of friends or people on social media or, you know, whoever it is that they're living for to have too much effect on them. Thank you, Queen Wimbo.
Totally agree with that.
That's really what it is. Because think about how, like, the girl just posted this video like yesterday. The amount of think pieces that I saw that were negative pertaining to this video outraged me. They outraged me. I was like, the girl can't giggle on a date. She can't be smitten. And he clearly is into her or interested because he set up the next date while they were on the first date. And see, this is what a lot of women are missing out on. They don't realize because they're being so hard, they're being so severe, they're being so guarded, they're being so cold, their energy is very repelling. And so therefore, a man is not going to try and set up a second date with you during the first date. He's not going to set up a third date or a fourth date because he just honestly wants to get the hell away from you. Even if he's being a gentleman about it, he's not trying to see you again.
They'll slowly phase out of the picture.
Some of them don't slowly phase out; they're abruptly phase out.
Here's the other thing I want to say about, you know, women who talk all that noise, right? As a therapist, I get to hear the inner world, like, you know, like what people are really going through. And so I can't tell you how many times I have talked to somebody who was like, you know, I told my friend to leave in this situation and I'm not going to do it. And I feel like a hypocrite. I can't tell you how many times I have heard people say that. So it's like they have all this noise, they have all these things to say, and they have, you know, calling people names and making them feel like they should be doing something different with their life. And when the situation hits them or when they're going through something similar, they do not do the same thing that they done told you to do 3-4 years ago.
Absolutely. That's why my mama, like, I'm so thankful that my mama always told me this when it came to like dating and relationships. She would always tell me, you know, people will absolutely advise you to do something that they wouldn't do. And she said behind closed doors, they will each and ask for 9 tons more. And I didn't understand what that meant until I got older. And it was exactly like you're saying in this situation. There are women that will advise women to leave their relationships, to leave their husbands and leave their partners, when in the reality of the situation, these are very solid men. These are good men. Like, no one's perfect. And then when it's time, you know, when they're wearing the shoe, I'm not leaving my man. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing this and that, because people act like things are so black and white. And it's very, it's really alarming, to be honest, with the amount of women, and y'all I don't want to hear men do it too. We're not talking about men right now. We're talking to the ladies right now. Okay. But the amount of women that feel like they're perfect, and they don't seem to have any understanding that, guess what? Your partner may have to overlook some things about you too. Your partner may have to forgive you too. Your partner may have to exercise some compassion right, with you too, or some understanding. Like it goes both ways. It's not this guy sneezed the wrong way, so you got rid of him that day. I saw them. There's a guy, and I can't think of his name right now. I love his content. And he was talking about how he loves to go to designer stores and buy things for his wife because it also, he feels good, not for just getting her to give, but he likes the attention, like the level of service he gets. He likes that people know his name. They greet him. They bring him things. They give him the champagne. And there were all these women in the comments. See, this is self-serving. You can't even do anything for women. You're a terrible husband, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, y'all need to chill out. Like, what is wrong with killing two birds in one stone? He gets to be made feel, he gets to feel special. He enjoys getting his little special treatment and his pampering while he's doing something for his wife. He gets the good feeling of giving her the gift. The wife gets the good feeling she's getting a gift. What is wrong with that? So it's this weird ideology where they don't want the other person to be happy or have any type of joy. It's very strange. You said you learned that the hard way. People don't take their own advice. True. Mm-hmm. You said, how does one get out there? How do you secure a date?
Look, first of all, go outside.
Step one.
And the other thing is, I usually tell people, you need to be doing stuff that you like. You need to be doing stuff that you enjoy so that your true relaxed personality can come out and you can be in the vicinity of other people that are good for you. Like, I think that's the part that I see most people missing.
Yeah, I would say you can make like very tiny changes too. Like instead of DoorDashing food to your house, like go and actually pick it up. Have like I know it sounds weird, but working on yourself so that you're happy. And that doesn't mean completely putting yourself on the shelf, but like actually working on yourself so that you're genuinely happy, because a lot of times energy will attract a man to you to make men want to speak to you or say hello. Also being aware, like not being extremely short with men. I've seen plenty of times where a man is trying to talk to the woman and the woman just completely misses it. He may say hello, he may talk about the weather, the sports, what you guys both can see in your eye shot together. And the woman completely has no conversation back for this man, or she's very, very dry. And they don't realize that a lot of times a man that is getting, Queen Niche said guilty, a lot of times a man, that may be interested or trying to see if he wants to ask for your phone number or take you out on a date, he may want to actually have a little bit of a conversation with you first to kind of see where he is mentally. So a lot of times you'll see women, the guys trying to have conversation with them or talk to them, just small talk, and the women will just completely, I don't want to be bothered. You know what I'm saying? So that could be a piece of the puzzle you're missing. Also relying on your network. A lot of times if you ask some of your friends, like, hey, do you know anyone I would like to date? I would like to meet someone. Like, people in the network sometimes know people that are single or people that they think will be a good fit for you or a good match for you. And they're happy to introduce you as well. You said, I met my husband when I was working at Costco. He was a regular member and he was always friendly. Come on, friendly members.
Mm-hmm. Well, and friendly is a key word. There's so many people who talk about meeting their significant other at the grocery store, at the gas station, just like living.
That's gas station. Life. Yeah, I don't have a lot of those weird rules. Like when I was dating, I wasn't out here like I will only meet a man. I'll only date a man if I meet him at church, or I'll only date a man if I meet him at a 5-star restaurant. I just no. I just kind of
the biggest heathen in the church. Like I don't like what is. What does that actually mean? Thank
you, Spiritual Rebel. Oh, Christina, I'm sorry. Hold on. We got Christina backstage. Let me bring her up. Hey, Christina.
Hey, how you doing? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. It's Crystalline. Why am I? Girl, don't let me call you Christina. It's Crystalline. I'm over here calling you Christina. I said, wait a minute. That's Crystalline. Side note for anybody, if you've never been here before, if I mess up your name, please correct me. Okay. Even if it's in the comments, you need to give me an enunciation key. Give it to me. Okay.
Thank you for allowing me to join you. When she mentioned something about the over correcting, I see that happening a lot. You know, social media, just in family overall, and for myself, I've experienced it so much to it's draining. Um, I experienced it from family, from friends, and then from the men I'm dating or have dated in the past as well. And it's disheartening to be honest.
Did you hear Dr. Kia?
So when you say overcorrecting, what specific behaviors are you seeing?
I think I don't know if it's the behavior or not, but just the conversations overall. Like, for me, I have one daughter. She's 14 years old, and I've seen or heard people um, make reference to it more so than they need to. I mean, at 14 years old, there's a lot that can be done as far as dating is concerned, but seemingly the modern day people are talking against stuff like that. It's like we don't have value because of children or weight gain, or you don't look a certain way and you just need to do this or that to even be approved by others.
Mm-hmm.
You're only good and worthy enough to be used, and that's it, not anything long term.
Yeah, so basically people putting out there that trying to point out all the ways that you're flawed or all the ways you're going to fail or all the ways that you are no good as a partner.
Exactly.
Your group, the whole group of you ain't good as a partner.
Absolutely.
And that is, you know, to me, a lot of people are in a protective mode. A lot of people have they have bad family members who's gone through horrible experiences and they're living that out in their life, and they don't know how to get out of that. And so many times those people are not going to find their partner or the person that's good for them or who they're looking for until they get out of that mindset.
True.
Because as long as they're out here just repelling people, the people that are going to stay is the people that they don't want to be with. The people who are toxic, problematic, you know, the people who are going to use them, the same people that they're trying to avoid, and the same people they're talking trash about.
Absolutely. The last guy I dated, we dated for a couple of years. And I really enjoyed his presence when we met up with each other. And I felt for him, he had more flaws that I would accept than me just with one child. He had 4 children with 3 baby mamas. I only have one child, one baby father. But in that situation, he found everything wrong with me. And he was not able to accept me in any way. He would kind of switch up on me a lot and say, you know, everything is good. I like your attitude, your demeanor. You have wife qualities, but then after a while, I can see that those things weren't true. He really could not accept the fact that I had a child outside of him.
So I have a question. Why did you date him for years if he was already letting you know that he wasn't accepting of the fact that you already had a child?
I think it was cognitive dissonance on my part. I'm a product of divorce myself, and also the situation with my child's father. I think this situation over time didn't allow me to see things as clear as I needed to. So I'm going through therapy now to make sure when I put myself back out there again, that my vulnerabilities aren't being used against me. Because I'm hopeful for a long-term relationship at some point. But I do see where there's things that I need to work on as well. But I dated him that long because I was interested in him, and I think I just accepted him too soon.
You know, I also think it's important to recognize, like, we can accept people for who they are, but also recognize that even if they are somebody who's a good match for us, that they're not at a place in their life where they could be a good match for us. Or if they are saying a lot of negative things, like, that's going to be something that carries over. Mm-hmm. And if I know that that's bringing me down and I need to be filled up in order to be my best self in a relationship, then he's going to have to check himself, or he's going to have to move on. And it's almost like you have to really assess if somebody is prepared enough to be in a relationship. Do they have the mindset to be in a relationship? Are they speaking life into you? Are they able to speak life into other people? Like, we have to accept all of those things, because people who are not able to do that are not going to tell you they're not able to do that.
That's
and
true.
a lot of them think that they're fine.
Yeah, he masked the negativity. When we were in, in each other's presence in person, everything was fine. He was very positive. I mean, I enjoyed, him speaking life into me when we were in presence, but when we were not in each other's presence is when the negativity came. And it took me a little while to pick up on, okay, wait a minute, this isn't sounding so good, or this isn't feeling so good. It took me a while to pick up on that. So once I was able to pick up on it, then I could separate myself from him. But he just masked it so good, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. I didn't feel it until later on.
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take you to recognize it?
It took me at least 3 years to fully understand him. But once I could determine or decipher between what was negative versus positive, it took me about 6 months to fully separate myself from him.
All right. So I had a question for you. When you were dating him back then, did you know that you wanted to be married, or were you just
Yes.
fine?
Okay. My intentions from the beginning was to get married, and he knew that. And at first, when we started dating, I was dating other people. He knew that also, but he pulled my attention for him only. But I didn't know that he was dating other people in a more serious way than I knew until later on.
So did he ask you to be in a committed relationship?
He never asked for a committed relationship. He never said those words, but he always would say, well, I want your attention only on me. I don't want you to share yourself with anybody else but me. And somehow he swooped me in. There was a blindness for me because I end up letting all those guys go, even the ones that I liked. I let go because he had a stronger impact on me.
Nah, girl.
He did.
Nah. So what was your response? And I'm asking because I know for a fact that there are other women in here that can, see themselves in this, or they're currently in this situation, or they've been in this situation before. So when he would say, I only want I want your attention on me and me only, basically demanding that you're only seeing him, what was your response to that?
At that time, I thought, I'm getting closer to what it was I desired, because we had so many communications, so much communication leading up to that time when he finally said that. So I'm thinking I'm winning. He wants me in the way I want him. But it took some time to see that he did not. So I would say if I could encourage somebody who was listening at this time, I would say keep sex off the table until you know for sure that man truly wants you in a relationship and says the words, not only says the words, but truly show that that's really what he is about. And he didn't do that. When I look back, he didn't confirm or affirm anything for me. I was just blindsided.
I appreciate that. So, ladies, this is what I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna put it like Dr. Kia is gonna come in and give you the professional terminology of what to do. Okay, this is just your big cousin Ashley Ann talking to you right now. Okay, at the end of the day, what she said is absolutely true. You do not, baby, raise up your skirt tail. Okay, we don't have friendly panties for men that are not committed to us, and don't. I know some of y'all in the chat, y'all are like, oh, he was manipulative. Not really. A lot of times, us as women, we create a storyline in our head and we start moving off of that storyline, and then we'll turn around and say somebody manipulated us. No, that's why I asked. He didn't say, hey, will you be my girlfriend? I want to be your man. I'm not going to see any other women. You don't see anyone else. So the reality of the situation is he had the right to say, I only want you to be focused on me. And she also, though, had the right, and any of y'all have the right to say, well, that's something I offer to my man. If we make it towards a relationship, the same way he's throwing out his expectations, you can throw your expectations right back out there. If we make it to there, if we find that we want to be in a relationship with one another, at that point, I'll be happy to give you my undivided attention. Until then, may the best man win. Period.
Mm-hmm. And at one point, he did say, I'm not dealing with anybody else but you. But then there was nothing to show that. There was no visual of seeing, okay, yes, he is doing he's matching what I'm doing. It was never any visual. I was just I was out there dumb, and I didn't have enough experience to, be able to discern anything at that point.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily expressing his commitment to you by saying I'm not seeing anybody else. That's just like right now I'm not seeing anybody else. That doesn't mean that tomorrow I won't be seeing anybody.
Exactly.
Right, because I'm gonna tell you, I tell the player to his face, baby, look, don't ask me about nobody else when we together. You worry about yourself. Mm-hmm. This is our time together right now. You want to spend our time together, worry about another man? Well, if that's the case, well, let me go on, okay, and let you ponder. Let me let you pontificate on them. I mean, I had guys when I was dating, they would be agitated with me because I dated other people. Now, I wasn't calling up these guys or texting them and saying I'm out with other people. But if they asked me, are you seeing other people? Absolutely. And I automatically assumed that they were seeing other people. It is what it is. I don't like that. I don't care what you like. Now, I didn't say it like that, but in my brain, I don't care what you like. You're not my man. Mm-hmm. So you have no authority over me. You haven't given me any commitment. And so at the end of the day, I'm a huge, proponent of multi-dating for women. And keep in mind, dating does not mean sleeping with, ladies.
Yes.
Okay. Dating, like creating experiences, memories, getting to know someone. Because typically as a woman, if you're dating a few different guys, it keeps you from putting a huge amount of pressure on one guy, because some women have the tendency to try to pressure a man into commitment too fast, or pressure a man for a lot of needs instead of letting stuff kind of naturally progress to see where it's going to play out. And I know some of y'all are like, I'm a single dater. I want to put all my attention on that person. I'm only putting all my attention on you if we're in a committed relationship. If we're not in a committed relationship, then you don't get to tie up my attention and my time. That's just my thoughts and my ideas on that. I'm not.
But that's real life. You can't. It's like, why am I going to abandon my life for you when we're not in that space to be committed? Like, if you're dating somebody, it's fine to date multiple people at the same time, because it's an assessment process. If we decide to move forward, then I'm going to dismiss all these other people. But until then, dating somebody is like building a friendship network. I don't know if I don't even know if I like you.
Right.
Like,
right.
Be a friend with you. I'm just entertaining you to see what this could or could not be. But you do have to teach people how to treat you, and not, being intimate, like sexually intimate early. I think is good, because, people get lost in that. And that is not what keeps men at all. Even though I hear people saying that it does. That is the one thing that is like a setup. Mm-hmm. Because there are a lot of men that will enjoy having sex with you, but they do not want anything more than that. However, I have seen where, the women set her boundaries, like, this is what it is that I want, and this is how you need to be to show up to be in a relationship with me, either take it or leave it. And you're like, oh, well, let me get to know you. Oh, now I like you. Now, and then they be scared to be intimate, because it's like, oh, now I like her, and now, I'm gonna get my feelings hurt. Like, it's a whole different setup. So I like what what you're talking about, Ashley, because really those are the boundaries, to tell people what they need to do to be in a relationship with you. And if it's going to last anyway, they're going to have to show up in a way that works.
Yeah, I would tell any woman, you don't have to be physical with a man until you are comfortable in doing that, because sometimes women have this thought, well, if I don't have some level of physical intimacy with him, he's gonna leave me. Well, guess what? You're gonna have physical intimacy with him, and he's still gonna leave you. If that man is gonna leave you, he's gonna leave you. So I don't believe in the pressuring of kisses or relation, the squeak. No, you don't have to do any of that with anybody until you're ready to do it. There are plenty of women out here, dipping it low, busting it wide, throwing it back, bucking and sucking, honey, hanging from chandeliers, and they're still getting cheated on. These guys are still not committing to them. They're still winding up in situationships. They're still only getting a part of what they want instead of actually being able to have someone commit to them. So at the end of the day, you should not be having a physical relationship with someone unless that's something you want to do, not because a man is pressuring you for that and you feel like, oh, if I don't do this, they're not going to be interested in me. Newsflash, if he's really interested in you, not to say that he doesn't want to have physical intimacy with you, he does, but he's not going to lead with that. He's going to be really interested in getting to know you.
Absolutely. He'll do the work.
Mm-hmm. You said I got away with words. I'm just keeping it a buck.
No,
I'm
I'm saying he'll do the work to, get her. He'll do the work to win her.
So I'm really proud of you that once you realize, okay, this is not what I'm going to get in this relationship, you decided to exit instead of hanging on. Because unfortunately, a lot of women, they'll say, well, I put this much time in, and before you know it, 3 years have turned to 5 years, 5 years have turned into a decade, and now they're filled up with resentment, right? So the fact that you're like, okay, this is not what I want, I'm getting on down, I'm scramming. What made you make the decision to say, I'm going to take myself off of the dating market for right now instead of just being open to dating, new people?
Just identifying my own history and background, the things that I was missing from, childhood leading up to being able to date and have my first child. Just trying to fill in the gaps from what I didn't know prior to even putting myself in the dating world, because I didn't date that much prior to even getting out there in the dating world. So I was just fresh meat. And I know that I needed to strengthen myself more, after taking a couple classes, put myself out in some wife lifestyle classes. I know that I want to be a wife at the end of the day. I know what I have to offer. I know what I don't have. And I want to be stronger in the areas where I don't, where I'm not strong. I'll say that. Yeah. And so after realizing that he really was playing a game and I'm not much of a game player, I know I needed to take myself more serious.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. So when you talk about things, so basically, like, long story long, you say probably naive.
Very naive, very gullible and naive. And the sad thing is, I was talking to my dad at that time. We don't have the best relationship, but I was talking to my dad at that time, and I was sharing different things with him. And I thought that I could trust even my dad's leadership and guidance, but it wasn't stable either. And my mom and one of my brothers would tell me to let it go because I would share, what was going on through the process of dating. But it's still, hearing them say leave it alone wasn't enough. It was like I had to go through it to understand what they meant. And then once I understood what they meant, and it was a reality that this man, he doesn't have my best interest at heart at all. He only enjoys the sex. He only enjoys the conversations. He only enjoys dumping all of his problems on me, and he's not available to me. Then that's not what I want long term.
So how long did it take for your parents to assess, like, this guy probably isn't going to give you what you want?
My mom, seemingly, she knew kind of in the beginning. She knew in the beginning. My dad, he knew after a couple conversations. We don't talk as much, but he knew after the first couple conversations of me sharing what had happened. He told me to leave him alone, but he didn't give me any details. So I didn't understand when they said, well, you need to leave him alone. I'm like, why? Because at that time, he was good to me. Or what I thought he was good to me.
Yeah.
So, I was very naive and green to what expectations were. I didn't have any boundaries at that time. I didn't even know what boundaries were, So, yeah, they knew way quicker than I did.
You said I hate when they don't give you details of why to walk away. I will say this. Sometimes you can ask for the why. I think sometimes with daddies, they may not give you the details because they don't want to hurt your feelings. I would say this: my daddy, you keep it a buck. So
I wish mine did.
my dad is gonna give it a buck. He's gonna tell me, and he doesn't have to say a lot. He doesn't have to say a lot about, you know, if he was approving of a guy, or thought he's a nice guy, or, you know, no, you need to leave alone or roll on over there. Because my daddy, he never got into detail and said, I don't like this guy for you because of XYZ element of P. He would just be like, you know, I think you can do better, or I'm surprised that you're dating him, or, you know, it doesn't take this long to decide XYZ element of P. So he would say enough stuff that I would pick up what he was putting down. So, ladies, I think a big mistake that a lot of us are making, besides the physical intimacy component, is whenever you do have like good men, or men that are good at reading other men. So like fathers, brothers, cousins, stuff like that, uncles, maybe a male friend, you know, that's really, really close to you, to say, hey, this guy's playing games with you. He's not serious. We need to listen to that sometimes, even if we're not trying to hear it. And in this case, her mom and her dad, both of them knew. They're like, nah, that ain't it. Cut that short, right? Sometimes we don't always have to touch the stove to know it's hot, and we can save ourselves a lot of heartbreak and a lot of stress.
What made you not listen to your mom? Was she not a good source of information, or was there something else that was going on that made you feel like?
Yeah, neither of my parents were a good source of information for me. My parents divorced when I was 8 years old, and so our relationships are broken, and so I think there was a level of distrust with both of them. Although I trust them enough to talk to them, their guidance wasn't clear enough for me. I needed more clarity, and they didn't give me clarity. It was more like, I told you so, or you should already know better on how to choose. But I had never been exposed to what to choose and how to choose, you know, better. I grew up with my dad beating on my mom, you know, and seeing my mom stay in relationships longer than what she needed to. So not to blame them, because at the end of the day, it was my choice to stay with that guy. But I just didn't trust them enough at that time to say, okay, they're telling me, or they're giving me guidance on what to do. Something in that, I didn't have trust in it.
So could I sum it up? And if I'm wrong, you can tell me I'm wrong. Would it be fair to say, though, you felt like because they hadn't had a successful relationship modeled in front of you, you felt like they didn't know what they were talking about?
Absolutely. My dad is on his 5th wife. My mom is with a man that she's been with for like 20 years, you know, and she stayed even though she doesn't like it. So if they were my examples, I didn't trust their words, because I felt like at that time the guys seemed to be trustworthy, and their words was like taking away something I thought I was gaining. But at the end of the day, they were right and I was wrong in that situation. They knew, and I wish that I had listened.
So go ahead, Dr. Kia.
No, I was just going to say, like, learning is half of the battle, and sometimes we don't listen because people have, you know, they haven't shown success for themselves, and they're not able to articulate what it is that is going on and why we shouldn't do whatever it is. And I think that's why it's important to have a network of people who we know are successful, so we can lean on them as well. That we can trust their opinions and thoughts when it comes to where we're trying to go or what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and I think this is important for a lot of women. If you do come from a product of divorce, or you have parents that haven't modeled a healthy relationship in front of you, well, this men and women, you get some people, like Dr. Kia was saying, in your circle. I always tell women, wherever you want to be, if you want to be a wife, you go and find some wives that are happily married, so you can start gleaning from them. You can lean into their understanding, their advice. If you know, having some happily married couples, you know what I mean, that you can get advice from or information, because a lot of these guys, they operate as a big brother. They're happy to advise you. They're happy to check a guy out. They're happy to talk to you. I would talk. I mean, I don't know if Nikita B is still in here, but like when I was dating, Nikita and Tears have been married over 20 something years, you know what I'm saying? And I would be on the phone with her and I'd be like, hey, ask T this, you know what I'm saying? And he would catch on the phone in the conversation and give his opinions or thoughts. And the guy that I was dating before I met Corey, he didn't tell me to absolutely leave him alone, but he told me he thought that I could do better, that he didn't think that he was the guy for me. He flat out told me character attributes that he saw in this man that he did not like and that he felt like were concerning. So, you know, my daddy didn't like this guy either. That's one of the reasons, like, he was, you know, up out of there. But so sometimes, you know, there are other men that, you know, are around you, and they may not be a father or a brother, but maybe, you know, it's one of your, maybe it's a best friend's husband, or, you know, someone at the church or a neighbor or something like that that you have a good rapport with, and they absolutely positively will help you vet men when you're dating them.
Yes, it's very important. Very important.
Yeah, girl, we have all the little emotions that start rolling around and hormones and stuff when you dating and in love, and especially once you've had physical intimacy with someone, and it absolutely clouds your judgment.
Yes, it definitely does.
Yeah. Hey, Mallory.
Hey, Ashley, can you hear me okay?
I can. You sound great.
Thank you. Hi, beautiful.
Hey, gorgeous. What's up, her?
Hey. Okay, well, I just want to say you my girl. You know, I'm always trying to check you out, trying to get those gems. But I want to say this is really a good conversation. And I just kind of want to add another perspective to the conversation. Also, you know, I think it's really time for us to get honest, you know, with ourselves. Like, if you're in a pool and you want to get married, you need to be honest. You know, if you want to be out here hooking up, dating, you don't want no strings attached and all that stuff, cool. If that's what you want, be honest with yourself. Because I think that being in a space where you know, like, this is where you at, it's okay. Because at the end of the day, you said something earlier too, Ashley, I don't know if that was you, but you can't let other people's opinion dictate where you are and where you want to be. Because I think, like, at the end of the day, we just have to know too, you don't want to waste your time and you don't want to waste other people's time. And I know for me, before I met my husband, I was already 2 babies in. And I remember having a conversation with myself, like, okay, Mal, what you doing? What you gonna be doing? You gonna be hooking up? What you gonna be going from baby daddy after baby daddy? You want to be married? Like, where are you at, girl? And I had to have that really tough conversation with myself. And I had to say, okay, nope, you want to be married. So I knew, with that being said, is that I needed to move different. And I needed to make some real decisions, even if that means that I need to be by myself. Because I knew, like, okay, if I wanted to be married, you gotta move at this thing very different. And so when I started to focus on myself, started to focus on raising my girls, I started to pour into my value, my growth mindset, you know, started to get some stability, try to figure out what Mallory wanted to do in terms of where I wanted to be. Then I was able to, like, really focus on that. And then from there, it started to be like this whole, like, what's the word I want to use? It started to be this whole nother aura over me. Like,
the energy. That's what I was talking about earlier. Like, working on yourself.
I was getting approached by, like, these very nice, respectable guys, like, you know, just like a whole different element. And it was no longer this sign on me. That was probably what I was, like, entering into a different relationship where it really wasn't good. It wasn't edifying me. So I would say that once you get honest with yourself, whatever you want to do, right? Like, if that's where you at, that's where you at. And I think that's only for you to make the decision. But I think, like, being honest, coming from a place of being honest with yourself, then you can be able to navigate. Because guess what? Everybody don't want to be married. And that's fine. You know what I mean? But if you do, and you know there are certain things that you need to go in and do, it's going to be uncomfortable. Because sometimes that means is that you got to bring your expectation of yourself up a little higher. Sometimes that means you got to be by yourself. Sometimes you might like a dude, but he just not fitting the values and the morals and the standards that you're looking for. He don't want to commit. So you might have to say, you know what, dang, as much as I'm feeling this guy, but he ain't ready. So you gotta be honest. You gotta be able to, you know what, you seem like a very nice guy. You know, I really had a good time or whatever, but, you know, this ain't for me. Based upon y'all kind of getting to know each other, and he kind of telling you what you want, vice versa, and then you just got to go ahead and move on. Because what it happens is it cuts down time. So you don't have to play into laying down with them or her in the bed or him in the bed and all this kind of spiritual ties and things of that nature. It's like really saying, you're been able to do this thing and you're being real with yourself. And you're like, look, I don't want to waste my time. You know what I mean? And you can part ways. Hey, if I see you, hey, how you doing? Keep it moving. It ain't no animosity, ain't all that stuff. You ain't going to the confusion and the back and forth and all this kind of stuff. So I think like just getting real with yourself would be a really good way to just save yourself time. And I know when I did that, then I was able to be in a place to meet my husband, and I was able to receive it, and I was able to see clearly. And so I think that, if I wanted to add any 2 cents to the conversation, I just want to leave the ladies with that.
Absolutely. And I would say this when we talk about time, a lot of times women stay too long. So that's one of the reasons I asked the question about, did you know you wanted to be married up front? Because I would have already said he's playing games. Now, when somebody's, I feel like in their early 20s in like college and high school and stuff, and y'all are establishing yourself, I think it's perfectly acceptable. You may be dating somebody for 4 or 5 years or whatnot. But when people get grown, I am telling y'all, I've never met any grown man that like feels like he's met his dream girl or his wife that takes years, to commit, years to marry or put a ring on it or say this is where our relationship is going and take the active steps behind it. And I know there are different thoughts and opinions about that, but I see a lot of women they just stay too long in the wrong relationships, and then they look up and all of a sudden you're geriatric and you weren't able to accomplish your personal goals.
Yeah, that's true. Exposure is everything. When you're not exposed to certain things, when it comes to dating, you can be spent in a game. And for myself, I was not exposed to even what like worldly dating was. I grew up in the church, so I had a certain mindset as far as what dating was concerned. I didn't think that there's people out there that truly will take advantage of vulnerabilities, and so it's important as a woman or even as a man to know what those vulnerabilities are, to even be exposed and knowledgeable about what the dating world has to offer, especially when it's in the two different arenas, church versus worldly, because it's not the same. And
Not
so,
at all.
yeah, so I learned a lot throughout that process. And yeah, I'm definitely taking the time out for a minute so I can be ready the next round.
But girl, don't time out too long.
I don't want to time out too long. I'm getting too old.
Some y'all like I'm putting myself on the shelf, and then it's like 10 years, and I'm like, why did you put yourself on the shelf that long? Like you get better at dating through experience dating, if that makes sense. You find out like what you like, what you don't like. You know what I'm saying? Like just making yourself available. So I'm not saying if you feel like you're not ready to make it a priority right now, I'm not saying jump out and do that, but I also would be open to it if you're just going through your regular life and a nice fella wants to take you out. I would be open to it because I get we're not supposed to monkey bar from relationship to relationship. So I'm not saying do that, but I also think it's very silly when women are like, oh, I'm just going to take myself off the market. Well, a woman that wants to be married, let me be clear. If you're not looking for marriage, then this doesn't apply. But if you're looking for marriage, I think it's silly when women put themselves up for years. You know what I'm saying? They remove themselves and they're like, oh, I'm just going to stay here and work on myself. Well, it's like, okay, sis, while you were there working on yourself, you have let the Sandman set in on you. And now you open up the door to go outside, and all of the men that were potential suitors for you, they're all senior citizens now. Now everybody geriatric and don't know.
That makes a lot of sense.
Wants to commit. I feel like you can do them both at the same time, especially if it's not severe trauma.
That makes sense.
I usually tell people to be available. Like, okay, so you're not out there looking right now to find somebody, but be available if somebody becomes, if you meet somebody, because you can't learn. It's kind of like counterproductive to just be on your own and think that you're going to learn how to be in relationship with people.
Right.
It's like it's a reset all over again. Because when you start meeting somebody, now you have to learn your triggers again. You have to be mindful. You have to jump into a whole different space. So, I'm definitely not a proponent of just like being by yourself and doing the isolation thing, because I don't think it sets you up for success. I think it it can almost be a setback unless you know, like right now, you're going to do damage to somebody. Of course, I would do that. However, if you're still you're interested in marriage, I would say be open to and available to meet people, even if you're not actively looking.
Mm-hmm.
I think that situation just scared me a little bit overall. Is I know for sure that I'm a marriage-minded person. I do not care for like the playing and just dating for fun. That's not me. I'm not interested in that. But I think that situation overall just kind of damaged me a little bit because I'm like, how can I just? I need to get to the point of discerning the difference between a marriage-minded man versus one that just wants to play the field.
Let's talk about it on the signs because you're not the only one that wants to discern that. And before we go through, here are some signs for as far as to say identify a man that's marriage minded. I want to tell everybody, y'all, this is a open panel. Okay, Dr. Kia is happy to answer any of y'all's questions about dating and relationship. So if you got a question for her, baby, request up in the box, okay, and lay it on there. If you want to contribute to the conversation through, story or experience, you can do that as well. Because our overall goal, like I told y'all, I want more people to have what they want in life, personally and professionally. And these are conversations that we have to have sometime because it's a lot of y'all that got hurt and you took yourself off the market and now you're making up all kinds of excuses for why you won't go back outside to be able to meet another person. And the reality of the situation is if you want marriage, you absolutely have to go back outside. You're not going to learn how to be in a relationship by yourself. Like Dr. Kia just said, you don't learn that solo. That's not a solo activity. Okay. You gotta interact with the opposite sex. So let me ask y'all this before we get into what are the attributes of a marriage-minded man. When you're on a date or you're talking to a guy and he asks you, what are you looking for? What do you typically tell him?
I like to be married at some point. Is it too soon when you first meet
the beginning?
Say that? Yeah, is that too soon?
Yes.
What? Okay, teach me.
Yes.
I think
yes. No, I'm
go off with heirloom.
And let me ask the doctor. I absolutely, when I was marriage minded and men knew from the way I carried myself that I was a serious girl, every man I've ever dated, they always would tell me they knew they could not play with me. But I never had to communicate. I never had to say out of my mouth, in the beginning, I'm looking for marriage. I feel like that. I feel like that's too soon. I feel like it puts a lot of pressure and we're just trying to get to know one another right now. I feel like there's a way to communicate that you're open to something, open for something more serious or long-term without saying, well, I'm looking for marriage right after rip. Dr. Kia, what you got on it? Because I tell y'all what I was saying and it was working. But go ahead, Dr. Kia.
I would definitely say that you could say I'm interested in marriage and long-term partnership, but I would also caution you not to make it think that it's going to be them. Like I am actually, that's my long-term trajectory, but right now I'm just out here meeting people with it, that intention. So I definitely would put it out there, but not make them think that you're waiting on them or putting pressure on them or anything like that. It's just like, I think it's important to just rest in your femininity like you live in your life and sharing it in a way that doesn't feel like you're trying to tell them that this is the next step with them. Because you might not even like them.
Facts. So you said she waiting on my response. So my response when guys would ask me that, kind of similar to like what Dr. Kia was saying, I would say something along the lines of, I'm just open to meeting new people to see if I can find someone I vibe with. And if, we're both on the same page, seeing if that could lead to something a little bit more substantial.
That's good.
That was it. So he knows eventually I want long term, but right now I'm just kind of interviewing you the way you're interviewing me to see if we even like one another.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, because I've had to shoot, the reverse happen to me where there have been guys like really pressing me like, oh, I think you're a wife. But it's the third date. In my brain, yeah, I know I'm a wife. I'm not your wife. I don't even scary. Okay, I'm ready to zoom. Okay, I'm out of
Yeah,
here.
I've had a
I'm
similar
out of here.
experience.
And then also, I feel like if you're leading as a woman, oh, I want to be married, well, then it makes it very easy for men to manipulate you because now you've told them this is what you're looking for, so they can dangle that carrot in front of you. And you know what I'm saying? Because now you're wondering, is he playing games? Is he not? Or I think I got somebody that wants the same thing. And he may not be marriage minded at all. But if that's what he needs to say and he feels like it's going to coax you into bed, there are absolutely men that will say that.
I can agree. That's true. That's good.
What you got on it,
And I think
Mallory?
that needs to be off the. They don't think that they can. That's going to be a thing. It's going to be a waste of their time. If that's what they're there for, you need to make them feel like it's going to be a waste of their time, so they continue to move.
Mm-hmm. What you got on it, Mallory? Okay, Dr. Kia. Because I know you said that I was surprised. I mean that you were surprised. But no, I'm not telling you up front. I want to be married.
That makes sense because the man will most likely try to mimic the things that you want and never be serious.
Mm-hmm. Mirroring is a real thing. You on mute, Mallory?
Yeah, so when I was at that point, when I was like, I wanted to be married and I knew that's something I desired, moving forward up until I met my husband, I would just say, like, I'm open to meeting, people. I'm open to, dating, and if it progressed into something wonderful, a long partnership, something, I'm open to that. And that's what I used to say. I would say eventually if it leads to marriage and that's something that we decide we want to do at that time, then I'll be ready to do that at that time. So I felt like it was something that they knew, that I'm not looking for no hookup. This ain't going to be no, you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. But if it progresses into something long term, then, I'm ready.
Yeah. And see, with me, if a guy was giving me like hookup energy or whatever, I just moved around on him, shake and bake. That's it. It wasn't any hard feelings. It wasn't anything disrespectful. It was literally just, okay, we're not aligned. We don't want the same thing right now. I'm gonna move around, because there's some guys you can get the energy off of them too. You can tell they're gonna want you to be their girlfriend for a decade. I'm not gonna be a 10-year girlfriend. I'm not doing that. Shake and bake. I'm out of there. So, and nothing wrong with anybody that's a 10-year girlfriend. If that's what you want to do, you're entitled to do that. I'm just saying it's not for me. Okay. So let's talk about traits of a marriage-minded man. So that way, some of the girls that are looking for that, then they will be able to identify those guys. Go ahead, Mallory.
Well, when I started to go on dates with my now husband, but before, when we was getting to know each other, I just looked for like his daily habits. Was he calling off from work? Was he always available? Nothing wrong with going out and hanging out, but I always look for, was he working all the time? Was he a hard worker? Did he talk about family a lot? How he interacted with his mom, how he was when he would talk about, hanging out with his daughter and stuff like that. I just sat back and observed, because I feel like you learn people by listening. So one of the things that I was doing was just really paying attention to how he moved, because when you're in the moment where you're feeling each other and you get to like day 2, day 3, day 4, there are going to be some things that you're going to start looking for. Of course, you want to look for a protector, a provider. You want to see if he's selfish. Do we have a caring and giving heart? Is he considerate? So I think like those are some of the things that I know I look for. And then I look for consistency. So like when he would open up my door, I would see if that was just a front. Would he last for a very long time? Was that something that he believed in chivalry? Was it something that he was just trying to, look good in front of me to prove himself? I just look for consistent behavior, because I figure if that's who he is, it would be natural and it would be consistent. And his story will always be the same. And that's what I just very considerate. And it was always consistent to the point where you just knew that this is who he is. And I believe like a lot of things that he was saying, it wasn't a whole lot of like fluff. He just really let his action lead. And then day after day after day, just consistency. And so that's how I really started to believe in my heart that he could potentially be somebody I could be with long term. And then he had just a lot of traditional ways about him. And I think that, again, just from my own experience, I'm just letting you know what I looked for and what I saw. And I think what the person says and how they move should be in a line over time. Because if it starts contradicting itself, then you know there's some inconsistency. But I think just overall, just the persistent and consistency. And I think that really just taught me a lot.
I agree with the consistency wholeheartedly, because there's a difference between like marriage minded and marriage character, because there's a lot of men that have the characteristics of a husband, but they don't want to be married. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't put them in the marriage minded category. So you're looking for a guy that has both, right? So like you were talking about, like the emotional availability, being consistent, open, is he gainfully employed, right? Those are characteristics of a man that would be, you know, a good potential husband. When it gets into marriage minded, y'all, it's super simple, okay? One, whenever you guys are on dates or you're getting to know one another, he's going to be interested in more than your physical. This guy's going to be trying to actually figure out like where your head is, right? Because he's scouting to see if you're going to be a good wife, if you're going to be a good mother of his children. So he's going to be very involved with wanting to know about your interests, your hobbies, what you read, what's on TV, doing different activities with you. Again, not saying that he's not going to be physically attracted to you. He will be, but it's going to go beyond the physical thing, right? The second thing that you're going to notice, and this goes into the consistency that Mallory was talking about, but he's going to consistently be talking about you in his future. And a lot of women get messed up with this because there are some guys and they talk about their future building, what they want to do, but they're not saying they want to do it with you. So you have to really listen to see if when he's planning for the future, and it could be something as small, you know, as a trip 3 months from now or something like that, or 2 months from now. Oh, I'm going to Costa Rica in the summer. Would you like to come with me? You know, setting up something that's a little bit far advanced that lets you know that a man wants you in his future, as opposed to a guy saying, you know, I have this goal, this accomplishment. I want to be here in my career. I want to have this home here. I want to do X, Y, Z. He may not necessarily be planning that with you. And sometimes, and you got to be careful with that because you can get tricked. I see a lot of girls, they're like, well, he always talked about the future, but he never really consistently talked about the future with you. The third thing that lets you know that he wants you to be around, he's going to start telling important people in his life about you. So he is going to introduce you to the parents if he has a relationship with them. You are going to meet the friends. You're going, you know what I'm saying? Like he's going to bring you around and he will actually give you a title. So a lot of women don't pay attention, but they are absolutely going to move the needle of the relationship. You're not going to have to ask this man, hey, lady, you're not going to have to ask this man who are like, where do you see us going? What do you have planned for us? What are we going to do? When am I going to see this or be here or that in your life? He's going to take the leadership role and he's going to progress you. He's going to tell you we're together. Okay. He's going to tell you, you know, I plan on being engaged within this time frame. He's going to say, I absolutely 100% want to marry you. You're going to see a ring on your finger. Oh, let's go, you know, look for this house together. And not only is he going to tell you these things, this is what Mallory was saying, like listening. I'm going to say, listen to their behavior. And people go, what? Whenever I say that to them, but you learn more by watching a person and how they actually move in their day-to-day life instead of getting caught up on what they're saying. Anybody can say anything. If what they're walking and what they're talking are lining up, baby, ding, 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 you got a winner. Okay. So if this man is saying, I want you in my life, I see a future with us, you know, he's talking about, you know, children or travel or your homes or investments or, you know, you planning something for you guys together, and then he's actively taking the steps in it, you're good to go. Unlike, you know, men that just sit around talking about what they wish and what they think and what they want. So those are the big ones. And it's really that simple, ladies. Like, if you're keeping it in mind, is he consistent with you? Is he talking about having you in the future? Is he actively doing things to have you in his future and in his present? Does he take you around to meet, you know, the parents or important people in his life? And then the last one on top of that, and this goes back to what Mallory was talking about, the emotional availability, because typically if a man wants you long-term in his life like that, there's a certain level of intimacy that he has to have as far as trust. And so if that man is not sharing things with you emotionally and you're not learning things about him in his life, right? I talked about how he wants to know stuff about you. He's also going to want to share things about himself. And so if he can trust you, then he's probably going to say like, okay, I can marry you. Like, so that's the difference between a marriage minded guy and like a man that exhibits the characteristics like a marriage material. And a lot of times girls will meet a guy that has marriage material, but he's not marriage minded. And then you put all your hopes and your dreams and your eggs over there in that guy because he has the good material. But just because he has the material doesn't mean that he wants to build a house with it. You picking up what I'm putting down? But that's it. It's not like it is not anything really complex. You know, you pay attention to what he's saying and what he's doing, period. And he should be moving that needle forward for you. If you got to ask him, when am I going to be your girl? When am I going to get a ring? Do you really like me? Are you going to commit to me? He not that into you. He may be marriage minded, but he's not minded in marrying you. He don't want to do that. Because men are very open and very vocal. And when they feel like they found their person that they want to be with, they're gonna let you know. You don't have to trick them, you don't have to manipulate them, you don't have to drop hints. They're gonna let you know. I've even seen young guys in college that are like 18, 19 years old, you know, working to build a future for, you know, it's so cute for the young gal, you know what I'm saying, that they have met and that who they feel like should be in their life. And those men, those boys work and they turn into men and they actually do have families with those young ladies. So it's not really an age thing. I've seen older guys. I feel like older men probably move faster though. Like guys that are 50 plus or 55 plus, I've seen them get married to a woman in like 60 days. They move faster. The older they get, the faster they move. Crazy. Because what you don't want to be is a girl that the guy settles for. You don't want to be the good enough girl. That baby, that's not the pot to be in. You're going to be disappointed and frustrated for the majority of your life.
Yeah, Ashley, because my husband, he almost 20 years older than me, honey. He saw me, saw that little fine Barbie doll. He was like, swoop her up real quick, honey.
He said, I got to have her.
He was like, yeah, like this right here. But like you were saying, it's really about just you become that focal point. And I think like you said, you ain't got to do no trickery, no manipulation. I mean, he just, everything that goes on in a part of his life, you're included in his present and his future. And you can tell that he wants to be involved. And, you know, you become like the center of attention. And it's just like, it's amazing. Because like when you really in that space and that vibe, like you will know. So that's why I say like, it's very important to like listen, to watch, to also make sure that, you know, you still move on about your day, you know, don't be always available, you know, still have some little mystery, but still enough that he knows, like, I just want to, man, I want to pursue her and, you know, and you're still, you know, doing all of the things you need to do to build your life because, yeah, and you just entwine together. So I just think like that's very important what you said, Ashley, about that part, that it was just basically run very smooth when it does happen. And this is for the women that desire to be married.
Right. So, if you don't desire to be married, then don't listen to anything we're saying, because this is not apply to you. You said a lot of women's perception of men stir from what she was taught by her mom or women around her. That's true. That's true. And the reality is every woman doesn't have a good example, you know what I mean, that she can turn to or depend on. And I see a lot of women, if I'm being honest, they're operating out of fear. It's like I don't meet a lot of women right now that are single that desire marriage and relationship, that are in the mindset of what if it does work, you know, or what I'm going to do when I meet my man. They're always just kind of operating in, he may not ever be out there. There's pee in the dating pool. This is hopeless, like kind of that type of energy. And so you definitely have to work on shifting your thought process and your core beliefs when it comes to relationship. You know what I'm saying? Because you cannot tell me that men don't love me. I know this. Okay. I'm validated on a regular basis. Men freaking love me. Okay. They be like, that one right there. You know what I'm saying? Something about her. You know that they love me. Period. And because of that, I've always been able to attract men. Really men that are what women would consider marriage material, or a lot of women would say that they're very happy to have those guys. I've always been able to attract a slew of men. I've never had an issue with it. No matter what size I am, no matter what's going on with my hair, no matter how much money I was making, no matter if I was, you know, wearing something that I purchased at City Trends or something that I purchased at the Chanel boutique, I've always been able to attract a gaggle of very, very, you know, solid men that are gainfully employed, men that don't have a string of baby mamas, men that have good temperaments, guys that want to offer, you know, fidelity and honesty to you, men that, you know, they're generous. You know, a lot of women, because if you're the good enough girl, he's definitely going to be stingy with you. Definitely going to be stingy. So you said most men love intelligent women that can hold a conversation and stand tall in their absence. True. So yeah, and that's it. I feel like we need to have a conversation about that, because some of y'all you're in the good enough category, baby, and that's a pot you got to get out of. And the only way to get out of it, you got to leave and go meet somebody new. Because you can't get a man, you can't go from a good enough girl to his dream girl. And good enough girl, you're going to be frustrated and disappointed the duration of your relationship, because you're going to feel like you're always begging him or pulling teeth to get him to do something. And a good enough girl, he doesn't necessarily treat you bad, but he doesn't treat you great either. I don't want to go into that tonight, though. we don't want to be that. Okay. Some of y'all, that's how some of y'all are in situationships right now, because you're the good enough girl and you're doing everything for that man. You're cooking for him, cleaning for him, helping him catch up with his appointments, running to get gifts for people's birthdays. Some of y'all are out here playing stepmama to their children and helping them with homework and game time and catching up on stuff. Some of y'all are out here turning backflips for them. You know what I'm saying? Out here busting it wide. You know what I'm saying? Y'all doing all of that and all the little things he like. Baby, the whole good enough girl. Y'all over here cleaning his house. Y'all over here ordering stuff when he run out of stuff at Amazon. Honey, good enough. No, this is not Drea on the screen. This is a young lady. Okay, her name is Jasmine. She's super cute. And she just put up a post about when the date goes well, and there are a bunch of bitter Bettys that got on the internet talking crap about, you know, how, you know, this guy has her wrapped around his finger and she's too smitten. And if I ever get on the internet laughing and giggling like that, my friends need to slap me. And I'm just like, you guys are just bitter and miserable. Let this girl live her life and enjoy the fact that she had a good date. And it looks like the next date was good from what I saw after that. Let her enjoy, okay, the feeling, the vibe. Because a lot of these women will give you bad advice and you will be out here single and sad. Okay, now if you want to be single, That's a different story. But I'm talking to the girls that know. I'm talking to the girlies that know that they want to be married. That's who we're talking to. Drea, Drea was trying to get a retirement plan. Okay, that's all that was. It's predatory behavior. I don't know why anyone is shocked. I see a lot of people talking about her. I just don't want to expend the energy on her. Like, I mean, we all know what it is. And the girls that think what she did is okay and they plan on doing it is because they're in the same pot. Okay. They are predators. They have no discerning skills. They do not want to work, and they absolutely weaponize their wombs. And they also use their wombs as a check. That's what that is. Okay, they want their money. They want a luxury life. They want a life of leisure. That's what that is. And she knew that she could not pull that trickery on an old player. So she had to go get a youngin. And I feel like some of these youngins are getting trapped with this because they're like, you gotta think about, he's 22 or 23. So he's seen her on TV. He's seen her on Instagram. This is a baddie, you know what I mean, that him and his friends probably talked about. So for him, this is a big notch in his belt to be taking her down. And then, but he didn't know, you know what I'm saying? That's a minx, okay? So baby, she got in there and Jedi mind tricked him, got all in his mind and his brain and telling him all kinds of stuff he ain't never heard before and probably doing all kinds of stuff to him. You know what I'm saying? And it's an ego thing. This is a woman that I fantasized about when I was a teenager or when I was a kid, and now I'm here with her. That's how the door gets open to that. And before you know it, pop, baby. I mean, I don't really have a lot to say about it because I know a few people had asked me, but it's not a lot for me. It ain't a lot for me to say about it. Okay, there are women out here that are super villains. Period. And she's one. And a lot of times, exactly, she got all of that. And this is the thing, you know, the young men need to realize those type of women, they're always going to look good because they understand that there's power in beauty. And I wish some of my good women that want to be in the house would understand that. There are some things that you can pick up from the 304s of the world that they're correct in. Okay, there are a few things you can pick up from them. And one of the things is they take a lot of pride in their appearance. And I think sometimes some of the girls that feel like they're overlooked, that they need to put a little bit more effort into their appearance. But I don't want to go there because y'all going to be trying to tear me a new one. But I'm just saying it's the truth. Everybody likes something pretty to look at. Hey, Sani.
Hi.
Hi. What's up? Good. How are you?
I'm good too.
Did you want to contribute anything to the conversation?
I want to know what's going on right now.
No.
I just joined live.
Okay. Go ahead, Mallory. I don't have time for that.
Exactly. I was getting ready to say, we ain't doing that tonight. Let's keep the conversation at hand. Okay? Period. We gotta keep it rolling.
Keep it rolling.
Oh, we need to probably another day get into that conversation because you speaking some real truth up here tonight. But you know, I don't listen. I want to join that conversation. But honey, they're gonna be big mad.
Yeah, I absolutely.
But that's the truth.
It is the truth, and a lot of this is the thing. You don't want to be in a position where you're letting somebody doormat you and run over you. But I do need some of my ladies that feel like you're getting overlooked or not picked. You need to lighten up a little bit. You got to learn how to be a little bit more fun. Some of y'all are drags. I just be like, geez, Louise. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all gonna have to work on lightening up your energy a little bit, and you got to put a little effort into your appearance. Okay, those are some things you should want to do for yourself. And if you don't, you may need to go talk to someone to figure out why you don't want to, or why you're so resistant to it. I'm not saying you got to run out here and get a BBL. Let me be clear. That's not what I'm saying. But you know, there's nothing wrong, you know what I'm saying, with making sure your hair is manicured and keeping care of your eyebrows and taking care of your skin. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you ain't got no husk on your feet. You know, like some of y'all, well, she does have one. It looks good though. Like, I'm not a hater. She looks good. The money that she spent, it's well spent. She had very good surgeons, very good doctors. It looks good. But you have a lot of women that just kind of feel like they can show up looking any kind of way, and well, a man doesn't need to take me as I am. No, he does not have to take you as you are. I don't even want to date you, and I don't want to take you as you are. Okay, baby, get rid of them corns. Go on, soak your feet on a regular basis. Okay, get your manicure, do your eyebrows, put your moisturization in your skin. You know what I'm saying? Oil your scalp, all of that. All of that, baby. Okay, keep yourself smelling good. You know what I'm saying? Do the best that you can with the package you have. Dress, you know, for your body type, what's going to complement your physique. There's nothing wrong with doing those types of things. And some women are very anti that, which I don't get. I don't understand it, but you know, it is what it is.
And then the thing too, you kind of expect somebody to do for you what you don't do for yourself and what you don't want to do for yourself.
Come on.
That's what's the crazy part that I don't even be understanding. I'm like, you want to wait and expect for a man to do all of the things that you ain't been doing for yourself. And I'm trying to figure out how that makes sense. It don't.
It doesn't. Okay? It does.
It's simply crazy and it's insanity.
It doesn't.
It's just like at the end of the day, we can always draw a source of energy from those who are already doing it. Period. And honestly, it don't take a whole lot of money to keep yourself up. You do it within your means. So if you got to polish your nails the old-fashioned way, you can polish your nails and polish your toes. Some of us, we can go ahead and take the calluses off the back of our feet. We can do it in the shower. They got stuff. You can go to the dollar store, beauty store, get it for what?
Let me tell you this:
$1,
a metal foot file will change your life. I love metal foot files. I do. I'm gonna try and do a little piece of content tonight on like inexpensive things that will elevate your life, like real life, as far as on the luxury. And ladies, I will tell you this: there is nothing wrong with someone seeing you as high maintenance. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, because when men meet us, they're absolutely tabulating how expensive we are. Okay, and if they feel like they can afford it or not. Period. It is what it is. So the better you take care of yourself, the more effective you're going to be at communicating. You know what I'm saying? Like how that man needs to take care of you. But a metal foot file, y'all, and you keep it in the shower. They have ones on Amazon that come with like a cuticle softener and stuff like that. But I am telling you, it will change your life. Your feet will be so smooth all the time. You don't have to use the cheese grater. You don't have to use that little razor blade thing. Those are bad for your feet anyway. The metal foot file will change your life. I'm telling you. Yes, then you put some little Vaseline on and throw your little socks on, honey, and get on in the bed. You're luxuriating, okay? Husk free on those heels. Husk free in these streets. You said TikTok shop has them on sale? Okay. No, don't use the cheese grater. The cheese grater isn't really good for your feet like that. And your skin grows back thicker and more callous with the cheese grater. I'm telling you, get a metal foot file. You're going to thank me.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
What would you like to contribute to the conversation this evening?
Oh, I don't know. I thought you guys were talking about the video. I just came in, so I don't know.
We were talking about the video, and you know how the conversation does. It just moves around to other stuff.
Oh, okay. So what are you guys talking about now?
I was just talking about inexpensive things, like as far as women maintenance in themselves. Someone in the comments had asked me, was this Drea Michelle on the screen? And I was like, no. And I was telling them about the video, and I was telling them, you know, even though I feel like Drea Michelle is a predator on how she's moving, one thing that a lot of women that feel like they're looked over can take from some of these 304s though is like some more like self-care or maintenance on themselves. You know, like, and I was just talking about little small stuff. So we're talking about having a little metal foot file in the shower, how to change your foot game forever, and you won't be out here with ashy feet.
That's true. You can always look on the budget.
Right, you definitely can. But yes, I love the video. I thought it was great. I was very disappointed with the amount of women just had so many negative things to say about this video. And I was like, it's
always women that have like shady things to say. I mean, I'm married, so I mean, but I understood exactly like how she was like giddy, because that's how I was. That's how I am, you know. So I mean, I get it. That's just like the girls who get it, they get it. The ones who don't, they just don't. And that's just how it's gonna be.
I do too. I'm in the same boat. Mallory up there is in the same boat.
To people, sometimes I just be like, okay, and you just kind of gotta like move on. Because people will die on that rock that they live on and be wrong and loud.
Yeah, and I was saying a lot of these women, their energy is so dark and so heavy, and they're not showing any appreciation. This is why men are not asking them on multiple dates. This is why they're having a hard time getting into a relationship, because they're dragged to be around.
Yeah. Well, they just have unrealistic expectations that just don't make any sense. So, I mean, but like I said, they'll down the hill and live with it, and I just be like, okay, you know, you want to try to help people. If you want to acquire marriage, you would think that they want to listen to people who are married, but they still don't. And somebody was asking that. They was like, if y'all don't want to listen to single people because you think they're not qualified, but you also don't want to listen to married people, who you want to listen to? Who you want to get advice from? Like it just makes you think like you don't want to listen to nobody,
right? Nobody can tell them anything.
Right? You want to argue the point and be loud and wrong. So after all, you just gotta be like, okay, cool. You know.
Look, I was gonna say exactly. They just want to be combative, argumentative, and just cause a lot of chaos and confusion, honey. That's why they by themselves. Yeah. So hey.
So I mean, it's not really about just like being by yourself, because I don't want women to think that obviously being with somebody defines you. It doesn't. However, if that's one of the points that you're trying to acquire in life, you also have to ask yourself, like, what am I doing, or what can I do?
Exactly. And this is the thing. I agree with you. There's a sector of women, they want to be single. They're satisfied. They're really happy. They've actually made a choice to be single. That is fine. That's absolutely grand and great. But also don't pee on the girls' Cheerios that say, I want to be in a relationship. There's nothing wrong with them. Don't bully them. Don't try and make them feel bad because they, you know, find honor in having a family or a partner. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, let everybody kind of choose their path and do their thing. So I always tell people all the time, if they come in during conversations like this, I'm like, if you don't want to be married, I'm not talking to you, you know, because they like they like to come in and tussle, and I'm like, baby, we're not talking to you. We get it. You want to be single. Roar. Congratulations. Let the girlies that want to have somebody have somebody. I remember before I got married, and this is years ago, and women would pop up and they'd be like, you don't need a man, and you know, you're so strong and you're beautiful and you have this money, you probably intimidate me, and you don't need a man. And I'd be like, don't you speak that on me? And they would be shocked. I'd be like, don't speak that over my life. I knew absolutely that I wanted a husband. I was like, I want a husband. I want to be with someone. Don't speak that on me.
Yeah, you can share all those beautiful things in life with somebody. It's just, you're just living out life with your best friend. And that's all I really try to tell people. I'm like, that's literally what a marriage is. You're living out life's struggles and happy moments with your best friend. That's it. It's not like a fairy tale. But I personally would say, because I do know people that are single, I would say that even the women that say that they don't want a man, they do. I think that they have this unrealistic expectation, and because they keep running into people that don't fit it, they'd rather just be by themselves. But they don't want to come into reality and grips to know that what you think in your head is not what you're going to get, because we're all human. A man is human. You know, you are human. Just like you have flaws, he has flaws. I'm sure he can run down a list of things that he may not like about you, just like you may do the same with him. So you have to meet in the middle and understand that, give each other grace. Like, that's really all it is. But like I said, people, they live in their own world.
That's the part right there. When you say give each other grace, they don't want to give another person grace because they're led by their ego. and they feel like they're perfect. And so because they think they're perfect, they don't understand that in order for someone to be with them, that person also has to exhibit grace over them, right? But they don't get that. And so the minute that the guy is not doing or operating or hitting whatever the metric is that they set for him, then it's like, boom, you know, you get out of here. Or all men are bad, they're all terrible, or they're overly concerned with what their community or immediate group thinks about them. So that's another reason, right? I'm not gonna let anybody play in my face. I'm not gonna let a man do this to me. I'm not gonna let a man say that to me. Da, 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 da. And then before you know it, you've annexed everyone. You have no options.
Yeah.
You said, who's going to show you when your girlfriends don't? Baby, nobody can tell them anything. This is why you had people making stitches of her saying, if I ever act like that over a man, I need one of my friends to slap me and all this other kind of stupid stuff. Ridiculous.
Are you guys able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought my thing was.
I can hear you okay.
If you were speaking before though, we couldn't hear you.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's out of control. Well, my final words that I will leave to everybody in here, you know, don't be a bitter Betty. And if you know you want to be in a relationship, there's nothing wrong with that. I would say get you some girlfriends who support that. You know, maybe they would like to be in relationships too, or they are inside of relationships. And so they're going to be able to encourage you. You'll be able, you know, to like elevate to that particular place energetically so that you can become more attractive. Like Mallory was saying, she started working on herself and her energy changed. And because her energy shifted, then she started getting a higher caliber of men that were approaching her, and she met her husband. She didn't even have to do anything except for just exist. Because she knew, she decided, I want a husband. I don't want to be playing around in these streets, and I'm going to work on myself to make myself more attractive. I'm going to be in alignment with a wife, and then bada boom, bada bang, there she is. She's a wife now.
Literally, that's literally how it is.
Mm-hmm.
You just put it out there, and it generally does come to you. When I met my husband, I was single and I was just dating, and actually I was going out on dates with guys, and it would only get to like 2 or 3 dates, and I just wasn't. I just actually hated dating. I actually generally did not like it. I got a lot of dates, but I just did not like it because I didn't like meeting different people. And then having like those same like fluff conversations, like, oh, when did you grow up? And you could just kind of